Ole's at the wheel. Tell me how good does it feel? Guys, what the fuck? What the fuck? What a win. Like, Jesus, like, how did we come back from being that? Like, we looked dead in the water in that first half. And, like, I guarantee you that under previous regimes, and I'm not just talking about Mourinho, I'm talking about previous regimes back until Sir Alex, we would have lost that 100%. 100%. But we came back under Ollie. Jesus, what a win. I am more excited. That win is one to get truly excited about. I'm just going to go ahead. We got to bring him in. Matthew McFadden, how you doing, brother?
I'm not bad. I've got a first eardrum now. Thanks for that intro.
Well, you're welcome. I thought I'd just get you involved early.
Cheers for that.
But, I mean, Matthew, bro, what the fuck?
I don't even know. I don't even know. Like, me and you are technically watching the game together because big up to yourself.
Listen, I don't know what you're talking about, Matthew. I don't know what you...
That's a legal way of watching. That's a legal way of watching.
Okay, you know, that's fair. That's fair.
Like, you have a parents who watch streams. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Imagine breaking the law.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what a game that was. It wasn't just a good game. There were some absolute screamers of goals as well.
Yeah.
Like, 4 goals outside the box. 2 genuine goal of the season contenders. 2 really nice finishes from Lukaku. And an amazing free kick from James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah. Which we did talk about pre-match. We did talk about that pre-match.
We talked about him. We said he's going to be a threat from the set pieces, and he lived up to that. But I'll tell you what, that's one of the games of the season in terms of just quality of goals and quality of play. Like, Southampton, to be fair to them, were actually quite good. And it made the game even better.
Yeah. Southampton and Burnley really seem to be, like, our boogie teams. Like, we for some reason... they always play up to us. Them, and then, I mean, obviously Stoke are relegated right now, but those teams just seem to always have something on us. But, I mean, Matthew, real quick, I want to get into some stats before we get into this. Vinesh, good to see you, man. Good to see you. And Marcus, we are out here in 2019, baby. We are out here in 2019. We're going to be out here till 2020 at this point. Like, come on. Get in. Get in. I love it. But, guys, real quick, some stats. I just wanted to throw it out there. 64% possession to their 36, 6 shots on target to their 3, 16 total shots to their 9, 712 touches to their 475, 508 passes to their 283, 8 tackles to their 22, 16 clearances to their 33, 9 corners to their 7, and we were offsides twice. I mean, guys, this was a very unique match. It's something that I think a lot of us did not expect to see. And let me tell you what, if you were to tell me that all of us, like we all, Matthew, we were talking about it while we were watching it together, that Ollie was talking about with Alexis Sanchez, that he's like that bottle of ketchup that once it starts coming out, that like it just will not, like it's going to let loose. Apparently, who he was really talking about was Andres Pereira. Andres Pereira, my God.
I'm telling you, that boy. I know a few weeks ago I said sell him, and I'm taking that back. That goal was just something else.
Give him a new contract.
I swear I jinxed it for half the goals in that game, because I said to you, as soon as he cut inside, I thought, what are you doing there? Luke Shaw's making an overlapping run for the first time in his whole career. And I was eating my words after that, so it was.
Dude, it happens.
That's about as top bins as it gets.
Yeah, it really was. It was literally top bins, curler, could not ask for anything more. Barry, good to see you, by the way. But
that Pereira goal was just something else.
Oh, it really was. And Matthew, you know what? Like I told you before, we needed to kind of keep this a little bit quicker. So let's go ahead. Let's jump right into player ratings. So guys, in case you didn't know, My wife's grandma actually did have open heart surgery yesterday. She did come out of it completely fine, but we need to go to the hospital. We need to go see her. So we do have to try and keep this relatively quick. Hopefully under an hour is what we're going to try and go for. So Matthew, Ryan Beals live with us, baby. Ryan Beals live with us. Love it. So, I mean, real quick, I did want to say something before we actually kind of get into it. Maybe we could talk about it a little bit later. But Romelu Lukaku, for me, should have taken the penalty. Let him have the opportunity to take a hat trick. Yeah. I just wanted to throw it out there. You guys all know how I feel about Romelu Lukaku. I'm going to shut up about him for a bit, though, because damn, was that a good game from him today? Like, he wasn't great, like, overall, but once again, scoring 2 goals and 1 from outside the box, you got to love it. You really, really do. But so, Matthew, let's go ahead, jump into it. David De Gea, 2 goals go in, but in my opinion, you cannot stop those 2 goals. Those were 2 phenomenal finishes. How do you rate him today?
But I've not seen the second goal back, so I've only seen it from the angle that the real-time camera was at. And to be fair, that goal just looked fantastic.
Yeah.
The first goal, no keeper saving that. Like, that's just a out of nowhere absolute wonder strike. So to be fair to him, I don't really think he could have done much. So I think a 6 is probably fair for him.
And I'm actually going to be right there with you, Matthew. I think a 6. I think he was average outside of that. Like, don't get me wrong. The only way he stops that free kick is if he cheats further to that way, which also would have then left the opposite side open and made it so if he had been cheating that way, it could have wound up very, very bad. But that first goal, that was one of those just absolute power strikes. Not a lot you could do about it. And guys, if you want to have your ratings read out on the show, get them in now. I will read out your guys' ratings. You guys know I love to get you guys involved in the show where I can, and this is a great opportunity. So, Danny Ogden said De Gea 6. Mad Marcus said 6. John Seth said 6. George Kyle said, I think De Gea thinks he could have done better on the first. Yeah, George, I would agree. I mean, he did get a hand to it, but if he had gotten both hands to it, I think he saves it. But once again, that was just such a power hit of a strike that it would have been, if that had been a save, that would have possibly topped the save from earlier today. Like, no doubt in my mind. Drop a like for a speed. Ryan, I really do appreciate that. Thank you. Moana said De Gea 6, distribution needs to improve. Yeah, it does. It does. Ryan Beals did say De Gea 6. Nick Archer said 6. Can't wait for Young's ratings. John Seth said spoiler alert too. I love you, John. I love you. Vanesh said De Gea 7. Susan McCurney said agrees 6 for De Gea. So guys, you know what? We move on. We move up the pitch, and we're going to go to George Kyle's definite favorite player of all time. I know for a fact it's got to be his favorite player, Ashley Young. Matthew, how do you rate Ashley Young today?
Oh, God. I think if I'm not mistaken, it was his foul on Stuart Armstrong that led to that goal. And I'd said it to you at the time, he's literally just costing us points every single game now. Maybe not even costing points.
Matthew, you actually did say that. I will give you guys confirmation. He said that free kick was going to lead to a goal.
Yeah. Like, I think it was as soon as that foul happened, I said it's going to lead to a goal. And it did. And he's the most predictably bad defender I think I've ever seen in my life. He's just horrendous, which is annoying because I thought the rest of the back four played fairly well.
Yeah.
Like, you can see 2 screeners. There's nothing really that you can do in terms of defending. It's the fact that he didn't really, do any well-worked goals or whatever. So the defence minus Ashley Young played well, but in terms of his rating, 4 out of 10, I'm sick of them.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
You could probably give him a 3 because I've never seen someone who passes the ball so woefully as much as Ashley Young.
It's like he'll have one good cross or one good pass out of like 10. It's true.
Yeah,
like maybe.
Actually, those crossing is insane, but it's not. It's terrible.
By the way, I'm loving the Ander Pereira popping in right now. We are out here in 2019, baby. We are out here in 2019. And I can't wait to get to Andres Pereira's rating. I really can't, because Matthew and I we were watching the match together, and I was upset that he wound up coming out of that match. Now, granted, Fred did wind up putting in the assist for Romelu Lukaku, so I don't know, maybe it worked out a little bit, but at the same time, Andres Pereira had a hell of a match, and I can't wait to talk about him. Did I say 2018, Marcus? No, it's 2019. No, it's 2020. We're going until 2020, baby. We're going to 2020 all the way. Let's go. But sorry, guys.
2020.
Yeah. United Union. There was the Fred assist. So for me, Ashley Young, I'm giving him a 3 as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was debating on giving him a 4, but you did literally call when you reminded me that you called that free kick leading to a goal. Yeah, I'll go ahead and give him the 3 just because of that. I know that George Kyle's going to give him a 0, but he'll give Ashley Young a 0 even if he showed up to the game. So, by the way, Ryan Beals did say Lee Grant gets a 10, which is very true. Lee Grant always gets a 10. He does.
I mean, some people say, Lee masterminded that comeback. That's just naive.
Yeah, it was Lee Grant.
Lee Grant.
It was. We actually saw, and we saw it too. We saw Lee Grant. Absolutely, it was actually really cool to see how excited Lee Grant was for that goal from Andres Pereira. That was really cool to see.
He's also second player of the stadium. I loved it.
Yeah, he was like genuinely the most excited player in the stadium. And Matthew, I even told you, like right when it happened, he looked like a proud dad. He looked like a proud dad the way that he just was celebrating with the rest of the coaching staff. Hey, United Union. All good, man. You're all good. Happy to just have you here live. And guys, be sure to drop a like for everybody here in the comments. Drop a like just for the fact that Manchester United had that huge comeback. We're back to having comeback wins. I love it, guys. I really do love it. But let's go ahead. Let's get to your guys' ratings. Let's read out your guys' ratings. Susan McCurney said Young 2. Moana said Captain Trashly done. Fantastic comment, Moana. I like it. George Kyle said Young 0, dreadful waste of space. Pancash said Young 3. What's that?
That's what we like to see around here from George.
Yes, I would expect nothing less. Nothing less. Pancash said Young 3. John Seth said maybe I give him a 1. We were 10 against 12. Yeah. I mean, he was basically playing for them. That's fair. Young a 2, just awful. Yeah. Nick Archer said Youngie 4. Ashley is always a travesty. The new Calamity Jones put in Delo next game. Matthew's out here leading Delo FC is what I've heard.
I think it was me and Rance who started Delo FC. We started it, and not Delo right back FC. Delo is a right winger FC. Needs to happen. He's a winger, not a fullback.
You know what? But like Rance has talked about, in the modern game, you do need your fullbacks to get further forward. So,
yep.
I mean, I still think he could be a right back on the way that the modern game works, but I also understand exactly where you're coming from with the whole right wing thing.
He can still do it, though. He can still do a job at right back. Like, he's a right back by trade, but for me, he's just going to seem like the Portuguese Gareth Bale. And it will start off as a defender, but quickly progress up the pitch. It's his career going on.
Let me see. So Saban said Young 3. And then Chris McTeague said Young 0. Erie here, United need about 5 players. Erie, I don't necessarily disagree in terms of wanting to compete across all competitions. I do not necessarily disagree. Delos should be our right back when we get someone like Sancho. George Kyle, phenomenal comment there. And I would have loved to have seen Tahith Chong come on at some point in time earlier in that match. I thought that he could have made a difference, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. It is what it is. Tahith Chong did get the chance to come on, and he created a foul in his Premier League debut. So good on him. Good on him. But Matthew, let's go ahead. Let's move up. Let's move to the center back positions. Chris Smalling. We talked about it when it happened. Chris Smalling defensively was very, very good. He's always very good. And there was the point where there was somebody that was about to have a free header, and Chris managed to get his head barely in the way after they headed the ball, and it wound up working out perfectly. How are you going to rate Chris Smalling today?
I think it's just, again, another solid game for him. He seems to be building that good partnership with Victor Lindelof. My only concern is the fact that he seems to go on these good runs and then just ends it all with a red card or a goal. But, while he's on good form, might as well enjoy it. So 7 out of 10 for me.
So, did you say 7? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, 7.
Okay, I wanted to make sure, that's all. So my wife texted me a picture of Arthur. So Arthur's with his mom right now. He decided that he was going to sit all the way in the back of the car. And it was his choice to go sit all the way in the back of the car. So he's quite the dork. So for me, Matthew, I give Chris Smalling a 7.5. It was barring on an 8 because of the defensive performance. Like we needed, he stepped up in a couple of spots where he really did help us out. So for me, I give him a 7.5 just because he did stop a potential goal. So let's go ahead. Let's see what you guys have to say about Chris Smalling. Smalling almost cost us a pen with his shirt pulling yet again. A 4 for me. Deadwood, get rid. I mean, George, for me, when we get in a better center back, and now I don't care if it's Bailly or if whoever it is, whoever needs to go in, we do need to get a better center back. I said this on Talking Manchester United with Ash and Paul, but we need a better center back 100%. And it will, like, whenever it happens, Chris Smalling can then just be a bench player because that's what he should be. Saban said Smaldini 7. John Seth said Smalling 7. Danny Ogden said Smalling 7. Let's see here. Sorry, guys. So Chris McTeague said Smalling 7. Mo said Smalling 6 with VAR incoming. He can't start for us. Yeah, Mo, I 100% agree with you. Ryan Beal said Smalling 7. Nick Archer said Smalling 7. He drives a silver Ferrari. Pankez said Smalling 8. George Kyle said Arthur, all jokes aside, would be better than Sanchez. Yes, and we will get to Sanchez soon, I promise. Susan McKerney said Smalling 7. United Union said Smalling greater than Bailly. For me personally, I would still like to see more of Eric Bailly. I would like to see that center back partnership more, but that's just me. Let's see here. Hope Sanchez is out for the season. EB, I mean, Matthew and I were joking, and we said that we hope that the injury keeps him out for the rest of the year. But ultimately, I never root for injury on anybody, especially considering the injury crisis we are currently in. So I get where you are coming from, though, 100%. But Matthew, I think it's time to move on from Chris Smalling. I do not see any further ratings for him. How do you rate Victor Lindelof today? I mean, it wasn't necessarily his what we expect from him, but on the ball once again. I mean, he's steady. He's the steady Iceman. It's exactly what we need from him.
It was a quiet performance, and that's kind of what you want to see from a defender. Like you don't want to hear their name constantly over and over again because the chances are they're going to make mistakes. So yeah, it was just again. I've said this every single time, but there was rating just a solid performance. Like he doesn't really put a foot wrong in any of his games recently, especially under Ole. So again, another 7 out of 10. Great Smalling. So whether someone gets Smalling an 8 out of 10, it should be the same for Lindelof because I think both were pretty much as good as each other.
So Matthew, I'll ask you the question really quick because EB asked, does anybody know how long it will be till Herrera's back? Do you happen to know that?
I have no idea.
I haven't had any injury update whatsoever on him.
Hamstring. If it's a hamstring injury, then it'll probably be at least another week.
Yeah.
Because it should be 2 weeks minimum.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, you're right. If it's a hamstring or high ankle, those are both longer term recoveries. So I'm not expecting him to be back immediately, but we do need Ander Herrera back. Do not get me wrong. We need Ander Herrera back. He has been phenomenal. But let's go ahead. Let's get to your guys' ratings after I tell you that I think that Victor Lindelof deserves a 7. He deserves a 7. It was relatively quiet, and like Matthew said, when a defender's name isn't mentioned much, that's most likely a good thing because it means that he didn't have to do much to really stand out. So his passing was good. He was all over the place, and that right there helps. It does help. Having him be able to be calm and confident on the ball is a huge help in comparison to Chris Smalling, who, like I said, it looks like Bambi on ice most times when he gets the ball at his feet. So let's go ahead. Let's get you your guys' ratings for Victor Lindelof. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said 8 for the Iceman. Susan McKerney said Lindelof was a solid 7. George Kyle said Lindelof is 7. Very solid in parts, and also has to work in tandem with the Chuckle Brother. Yeah, that is true, George. That is true. Saban said Lindelof 6. Pancash said Lindelof 8. He is the Swedish Iceman. Yes, he is, Pancash. Moana said Victor 7. John Seth said Lindelof 7. Ryan Beal said Iceman 7 for me. United Union said Lindelof next to a ball winner would make him a top 3 defender. United Union, Matthew and I actually talked about this before, that when we get another center back in, or not even just when, is Victor Lindelof already becoming one of the top center backs in all of the Premier League? And I think you could make that argument that he is becoming one of the top center backs in the Premier League, and he probably at the moment is top 3. So real quick, Iceman Lindelof at 8 for me. Top Gun performance from Nick Archer. And then I don't see. So I love the little chant for Romelu Lukaku. So Matthew, I'll ask you the question really quick. I mean, do you think that Victor Lindelof should be considered in the top 3 of center backs in the Premier League at the moment?
Top 3. Of course, Van Dijk's top 1. I don't know about top 3. Top 5 maybe.
Who would you say are the other 2 that would be better than him in that scenario then?
Top 3. So the top has to be Van Dijk, best centre back in the league by a mile.
Okay.
Second top would be probably Laporte from City, or Vertonghen, or I think it's a bit of a tough one, really, because you've obviously got the elite centre back, and then this sort of second tier. You've got quite a few players there who you could genuinely make an account for.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't know about a particular order, but I'd maybe say top 5.
So if you were to make the argument for top 5, I would understand that as well. Because like you were saying, I mean, Vertonghen is somebody you could put in there. You could make the argument, like you said, for Laporte. I mean, John Stones has been really good this season. There's people out there, but for me, he is edging on that top 3. I mean, you could make the argument that he could, at the moment, be top 3. But Matthew, let's move on. Let's move over to that left-hand side. Luke Shaw. How do you rate Luke Shaw today? Because today, I will say, it wasn't necessarily his best performance.
Yeah, I thought for the whole left-hand side, it was quite a quiet game.
Yes.
It didn't really see him do that much. I think there was a couple of times where he got past his player, and it looked quite nice, but he lost the ball after that. Was one particular moment that I'm thinking of. But yeah, it didn't really offer as much attacking or defensively as his previous games, but then again, didn't really do much wrong. So I think, again, even though I don't like doing half ratings, maybe a 6.5. I think a 6 is maybe a bit too harsh, but a 7, maybe a little bit generous.
So you know what? So if you want to do the half rating, I actually think that's a very fair one for today, because he didn't cost us anything. But at the same time, he also wasn't, like the guy that he was in the last match, that possible man of the match type performance that he had. So, I don't know. For me, I'll give him a 6.5, Matthew. I'm going to give him a 6.5. I think that, like you said, I think that the 6 is it's a bit too low but I think that a 7 would be too high because, again, defensively, I mean, we've been talking about it for almost the entire year. Defensively, he is so sound, but when he was getting forward, he really didn't cause many problems on that left-hand side. But at the same time, I think a lot of that comes down to him having to play with Alexis Sanchez over on the left-hand side. I think when Martial's back, I think that we will hopefully continue to see that build-up of their tandem, which was really starting to build into something. So let's go ahead. Let's get into your guys' ratings for Luke Shaw. John Seth said Shaw 6.5. Saban said Shaw 7. Pankaj said Shaw 6. Had a pretty okay game. Moana said Shaw 7, alone on the left all game. Yeah, Mo, that is very, very true. Cool Hand Luke 7, said Nick Archer. Waiting for him to reunite with Martial FC. No one there to help him out. Even Pogba stayed back until the end. Yeah, Pogba had a very quiet game too. I noticed him kind of being further back for the most part. George Kyle said Shaw was quite good for me. They didn't really have too much threat down that side. Thought he made the right decisions by letting Valeri shoot since he couldn't have known about the rocket, so a 7. Yeah, I agree with that. Susan said Shaw was very quiet, so yes, 6.5 fair. Oh, geez. Arthur coming in hot, guys. Arthur just got home. And I don't see any other ratings for Luke Shaw. So, guys, let's go ahead. Let's move on up the pitch. Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay, for me, returned back to the Scott McTominay we would expect. So, Matthew, how do you rate your favorite Scotsman?
Yeah, he's turned from Scott McTominay to Scott McMail again.
Yes.
I just felt like it was a very typical McTominay game where he didn't do much wrong, but he just didn't do much in general. I thought it was a lot more quieter compared to what he's been in the last couple of games. So I'll probably give him a somewhat disappointing 5. And also in the second half, I think there must have been 2 times I saw him on the ball.
Yeah.
Didn't see it sort of in the second half.
I mean, and we, like you said, we watched most of that match together. So, I mean, Scott McTominay really was back to being the Scott McTominay of old. Oh, Mr. Exclusive joining us from after the game. Good to see you, Mr. Exclusive. You got quite the wonder game there. So awesome. Arthur gets a 20 from Saban, by the way, and then I saw Nick Archer say Arthur FC gets a 10. If I could teach Arthur to dab, you know what? I would, Nick. I think that would be possibly the best thing we could get to teach Arthur is how to hit a sick dab. So, unfortunately, I don't think he's got that movement, right in this area. It's okay. It's okay. So let's see here. Let's see what you guys have to say about Scott McTominay, because for me, I'm going to give him a 4.5. I'm going to give him a 4.5 because I just think that a 5 is actually too generous for him. He really did return back to the guy that we all think of when we think of Scott McTominay today, which is unfortunate because he's been so good the last couple of games. And I really hope that, because more than likely we're going to see him again in the next match. And I hope that he returns back to the Scott McTominay we need him to be. So let's see what you give Scott McTominay for today. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anybody. So John said Scott 6. Saban said Scottish Messi 6. George Kyle said McTominay very bad, not United quality. Sideways and backwards and slow. Will be gone in the next few years or be Deadwood squad player. 3. Moana said McTominay 6. Against PSG, that midfield won't have Pogba to cover them. Yeah, Mo, PSG game is going to be a rough one, isn't it? Panga said Scott McTominay 5. He wasn't involved. Let's see here. Anybody else? Tommy gets an 8. Tommy gets an 8. Average performance 6 + 2 for him being from Scotland. Oh, got it, Salt. Got it. Yeah, just. And then Susan said 4 for Scott. Yeah, Scott, for me, he really wasn't very good today. And it was really noticeable because in the past couple of matches, he has been really good. And he's helped out the team in a lot of ways. But when you when you go back to being the Scott McTominay that he was under Mourinho, that's where you run into the issues because you really notice that he's not that guy, he's not that guy that can make the good, like the crazy runs. He's not the guy that can really make a good pass. Like he's basically just average at everything. And that for me is just not what a Manchester United quality player has. Now, like I said, I still hope that he proves me wrong. But as unfortunate as it is, he just really did not have a good game. So let's go ahead. Let's move on from Scott McTominay. Let's go to Paul Pogba first. Because he had a relatively quiet game as well. So, Matthew, how do you rate Paul Pogba?
I'm going to be quite harsh, but quite fair at the same time in Pogba and give him a 5 out of 10. I thought he really just didn't do much. And I think Lukaku should have taken that penalty.
Yeah,
maybe
100%.
Maybe we don't know what happened behind the scenes. Maybe Lukaku said, "Nah, Pogba, you take it," which in that case, fair dues. But his overall performance, like even in the last few games, we've not seen much from him in terms of going forward. But today, it seems weird saying Pogba was a passenger in the game, but he was kind of like that. We didn't really see anything from him at all, apart from one really nice pass. But that aside, extremely quiet.
Yeah, but Pogba was kind of more playing deeper today too. I did notice that. It's a tough one because I just think that he was average. But for Pogba to be average, I mean, that would be most people getting like a 7. So for me, I'm going to give him an average rating for me, which is a 6. He didn't do much, but at the same time, he didn't really like do anything too harmful either. Like he had a couple of really good passes. And other than that, though, just really didn't do much today. Like, just really contributed more defensively, which, we want to see Paul Pogba getting further forward because that's where he is at his best. So for me, Pogba 6, that, by the way, I will say this on the saved penalty. That was a really, really good save from the keeper.
It's an unbelievable save.
Like, to get his foot to it barely and save it. I mean, that's one of those saves that, he got the keeper to go one way, and ultimately the keeper just made it a phenomenal save. You can't really say too much about that. But I'm going to be really interested to see how you guys rate Paul Pogba today. So Pancakes did say, Andrew, if we get an early goal against PSG, we can win, and we need to score 3. They to score 1, only 1. So we can get through. Pancakes, I mean, you're right. We could potentially get through. It's not going to happen, though. It's just not. It's unfortunate as it is. It's just not. But Pancakes said Pogba 6, had a quiet game. Saban said Pogba 5. Lukaku said he wanted so Sandy Mojo said Lukaku said he wanted Pogba to take it. That's what he said. So if that's true, if Lukaku did say that, you know what? It's fair dues. Like, it's exactly what we were thinking was probably happening. But I still feel that on a hat trick, you should let the guy on a hat trick take the penalty. My personal opinion. And like Sandy did say, Pogba was playing the CDM. John Seth said Pogba 7 and a generous 8. He didn't step up as he usually does, but just his presence and his points in itself. Okay, you know what? I mean, I liked it. I like the way that you put that, John. Susan McKerney said Pogba 6 feels harsh, but after missing a pen, can't go higher. Yeah, that's fair. Pogba was in the defensive half a lot of the game. Southampton was all over us pressing. Yeah, Mr. Exclusive. I noticed that as well. Mo said Pogba 6, missed pen, worked hard, but looks exhausted. Yeah, I mean, him getting a rest against PSG is going to be awesome. So we'll see what's going to happen going forward. So George Kyle said last few games, McTominay and Sanchez playing. Pogba hamstrung by the crap from these two. have to look at how poor the squad players have downgraded our team. Matic, whilst being slow, actually played forward, unlike McTominay and Sanchez, is just without any merit. Where are we? My computer crapped out. Pogba's a 6, though. So, Nick, that's exactly where we're at. We were at Pogba. So, Pogba's 6 for Nick Archer. And let's go ahead and move on to our next player. Somebody that, in my opinion, you could consider man of the match. Andres Pereira. He was amazing today. And that goal just, that was a phenomenal goal. So, Matthew, how do you rate Andres Pereira?
You know what? I'm tempted to bump up his rating by about 17 just for that goal alone. It was like he took a free kick. That was the exact technique of the shot. It was like he imagined a wall in front of him and just tried to bend it round. And tell you what, it's as top bends as it gets. And don't get me wrong, for the whole game, he didn't have a huge presence, but that 10, 15, 20-minute period of time in the second half was just the best that we've seen of him.
Oh, 100%.
Season game. Because let's be honest, at times he does seem like a bit of a pre-season merchant. But I tell you what, today he was brilliant. So I'd give him, I don't know what rating I'd give him really, because impact, on impact alone, he was outstanding. But across the whole game, I wouldn't say it was, too amazing. So 8 out of 10, maybe. And
So,
I think didn't he set up a goal as well?
He did. He did have an assist as well on Lukaku's first goal.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think an 8 or an 8.5 probably deserved. So,
I was tempted to give him a 9, but I think that would be a little bit too generous considering his overall game. So I think an 8.5 is actually going to be the appropriate rating because, number one, like I said, that goal is exactly what we've been hoping to see from Andres Pereira. It really is. We've been waiting to see that, and it finally happened. And then the assist that he had, too, was also really good. Found Lukaku in perfect space, and Lukaku put it away. So, and then let me tell you what, Andres Pereira for a second looked like a player that should be getting more game time. I mean, the way that he was there was a couple of touches that Matthew and I both mentioned were just putting little tips over the ball. And it basically looked like Neymar. He looked like Neymar at times, just being able to do little tricky stuff.
Minus diving, of course.
No, minus the diving. But I mean, if that's how I feel. Let's see how you guys rate Andres Pereira for today. So Saban said Andres 8. Panka said Andres gets an 8. He was brilliant and he had a goal and an assist. Yep, absolutely. John said Pereira 9, not just because of the performance itself, but because it was at the time when we needed it. That is often just as important. John, that's a fantastic point. That is a fantastic point. George Scott said Pereira was great and justified me putting him in my predicted lineup. The only person who did so in the preview show. Superb goal, great cross, Lukaku bottled, and some great distribution. Yeah, George, a fantastic point, and George gave him an 8. Nick Archer said Andres Pereira, what a wand of a shot. Let's give him a 9, even though probably an 8. I love the guy. Yeah, I do, and I actually really do hope that Andres does get a new contract. I would love to see him given more chances for Manchester United. I really would. Susan said Andres 8.5. Really found confidence and passion today. Yeah, absolutely, Susan. Absolutely. Moana said Pereira 8, still loses the ball way too easily, but what a shot. Yeah, no, absolutely. The time it was needed and absolutely spot on. The spark. Okay, so what are you talking about, boys? So AFAF, we're right now talking about Andres Pereira. We're about to move on from Andres Pereira. Sophie, absolutely true. Brilliant game. It was a classic comeback. Classic comeback. I only like the goal for Pereira and nothing more. And you know what? That's it. We're going to go ahead. We're going to move on to our attacking players. And I want to go In fact, I don't just want to. I feel like we need to go to Alexis Sanchez first because I want to talk about the negative and then talk about the positives. Matthew, Alexis Sanchez just needs to be done for Manchester United. For all the crap I've given Romelu Lukaku, it's donezo time for Alexis Sanchez. No more.
0 out of 10. Next play.
0 out of 10. 0 out of 10. Out. Like, truly was invisible until he got hurt. Like, there was one good and it was one good pass that he made to Luke Shaw on an overlap. That's it. But one good pass does not equal what he should be getting and what he's getting paid and what he should be producing. Like, Alexis Sanchez just cannot continue to play. So Alexis Sanchez, 0. Please just be done at Manchester United. And let's hope that maybe we can get Tahith Chong starting on the right instead of what that crap is on the left. Because I prefer to play Marcus Rashford as a winger and Lukaku up top than to have to play Alexis Sanchez on the left wing. Just my opinion, though. Sanchez must get a minus rating. George Kyle, I would understand if you gave him a minus rating too. Pereira class today really stepped up as well as Lukaku. Yeah, Sophie, absolutely true. Absolutely true. Pankaj said Sanchez a big 0. Alexis can't keep starting. Come on, Ollie. Yeah, Mo, I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Let's see here. Alexis, sell him. Yeah. AFF, 100% agree. 100% agree. Susan said Sanchez can't even rate him. So invisible. Yeah. I mean, I didn't know he was John Cena out here. He was literally useless, George. He was literally useless. Saban said Sanchez 0. AFF said -1 for Alexis. John Seth said Sanchez 2, which could be called a -4 because a replacement would at least have been a 6. He steals from the team much more than he contributes. He should never play again. 100% true. George Kyle said Sanchez -5, absolutely diabolical. And then John actually said -4 for me. He's changing his rating to -4. Yeah, I 100% understand it. Sophie said Sanchez was shocking. Then Nick Arch said Sanchez messes everything up. It was proved as soon as he went off. So a 1 because he played. I hate to wish injury on a player, but he doesn't fit, period. And then Sophie said Sanchez is useless. He offers nothing. I'd rather start Chong or Gomez because at least I know they will offer something to the team and give it their all. And Sophie, you're 100% accurate on that. 100% accurate. But let's go ahead, move on from the negativity. Let's get to some positivity. Marcus Rashford, first start back after having that bit of an ankle injury. Honestly, it wasn't great today, but at the same time, his runs really caused problems for opposing teams. So, Matthew, how do you rate Marcus Rashford today?
Yeah, it wasn't a great performance, but at the same time, he's just coming back from injury, so you can kind of excuse him for that. So, yeah, he was probably the worst out of the front three post Sanchez.
Yep.
But then again, I don't think he did that bad. You know, he had a few chances, got in the box quite a few times, got into the box with the ball, most importantly. So, wasn't a bad performance, but just wasn't a great one. So, 6 out of 10, maybe. Just the default rated.
I was going to go with an average rating, too. I was going to go with a 6 out of 10 because, like you said, he really didn't do a lot to help. But at the same time, like I said, his runs just they really do help out the team in general. And his pace, the other team knowing that his pace is always there is terrifying for other teams. So I can't wait for Anthony Martial to get back. So hopefully we can see the combination of Rashford, Martial, and then put Lukaku on the right wing. And I would actually really like to see that because I think that those three could actually graft together pretty well and create a bit of a dynamic attack at the moment because Lukaku is on some phenomenal form, and it's exactly what we needed from somebody. So Rashford 6, and let's see what you guys have to say about Marcus Rashford. So George Kyle said Rashford did some good stuff, but coming back from injury, so 7. Saban said Sanchez is finished like a player. Pancake said Rashford 7. He was good, but not great. He has an excellent work rate. And Pancake, you're 100% right about that. Moana said Rashford 7. Actually forced Lukaku to play football in the second half. John Seth said Rashford only 4.5. It breaks my heart because he is one of the one I love the most. Saban said Rashfordinho 7 for me. Also, Rashford, we must remember, is used to playing center forward now. Yeah, George, you're absolutely right about that. Rashi always dependable 7. Imagine we didn't have him with all these injuries. Yeah, it would be rough, Nick Archer. Sophie said Rashford was decent. He created a lot of space, which made space. Which made space for likes of Pereira and Pogba to attack. He also just coming back from injury, so I can't really criticize him. Yeah, that's a fair point, Soph. Susan McCurney said Rashford wasn't himself. I guess a 6. Sophie said Rashford 7. George Kyle said Lukaku is being sold, not on our right wing. Yeah, I mean, he will eventually be sold on. I really believe that. But, at the moment, I'm happy with letting him play. And then AFF said Rashford 7. Lukaku needs to do a hat trick versus PSG to convince me otherwise. I would still sell him. No chance. Yeah, and I would still sell Lukaku. Don't get me wrong. I would still 100% sell Lukaku. But funny enough, while I say that, I'm not going to give him any criticism because he won us this game today. That shot from outside the box was absolutely phenomenal, and he should have been given that penalty. He should have been given the opportunity to have that penalty. So, Matthew, how do you rate Romelu Lukaku today?
I mean, it's 2 games in a row for him and two match-winning performances. You can't really criticise him. But yeah, we could be really picky and talk about his first touch and stuff, but when he's scoring goals, I think we can probably ignore that. So for me, as much as I want to give it to the next guy, he's probably my man of the match and a 9 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, and because of the fact that he scored, Matthew and I were talking about it, we think it's his first goal from outside the box. Well,
also as well, he's been criticised so much for being really one-footed. 3 of his last 4 goals have been with his right foot.
Yep. That's crazy to think about. For me, I'm going to give Rom a 9 as well, and I'm going to give him the man of the match because, he stepped up in such a massive, massive way for us. In a time where we're missing Martial and Lingard, he has stepped up so big, and it's exactly what we needed. So I'm going to be really interested to see how you guys rate Romelu Lukaku today, because I think a lot of people will agree that he was the man of the match. And that's considering the fact that think about how many of us have criticized Romelu Lukaku to the ends and back. I mean, I came on here and said he should never play for Manchester United again. And let me tell you what, he's proving me wrong at the moment. It's exactly what I was hoping he would do. But at the end of the day, I still want him sold. But, Luke, you saved us today. You really, really did. So Moana said Rom 10. Nick Archer said rom-com brace, baby. Now everybody loves Lukaku, said Saban. Yeah, I mean, Saban, I still don't love Lukaku by any means, but I'm happy to have him on this amazing run of form. George Kyle said Lukaku is 7. His excellent goals must be married up with the plethora of easy chances he missed first half. Also, lots of very poor touches and build-up. Yeah, George, we did talk about that as well when Matthew and I were watching the match.
I can't forget the fact that he missed a few first-half chances, but at the same time, he won the game, so I'm not really going to complain too much.
Yeah, I can overlook those. I really can. Nick Archer said rom-com is a 9. Saban said Lukaku 10. Panko said Lukaku 9. He was absolutely phenomenal, and it was the first time he shot from outside the box. And George Kyle said, yep, first goal outside the box. Moana said, wrong, George. Susan said, Rom a 9 today. He certainly surprised me. He's certainly surprised a lot of people today, Susan. Nick Arch said Rom-com should play with his shirt off so he's down in weight. I will say this, when he took off his shirt, both Matthew and I made the comment that he definitely looks like he's lost some weight. He definitely looks.
I think that's a statement.
I do too. I actually thought that when he took off the shirt.
it's that kind of Jose Mourinho mentality, proving people wrong.
Yeah,
I think he's done that for that reason alone.
And it's possible that he did it for that reason alone. I can see that. But let's go ahead. Let's continue on with these. So John said Lukaku 9 and man of the match would have given him a 10, but he missed some chances. Yeah, which is very, very true. I never said he was one-footed. Both of them are like penguin flippers. George. That was pretty good. Man of the match, Big Rom said Saban. Yeah. I 100% think that he's man of the match. You win the match, I think that you deserve to get the man of the match. It's just my opinion. Kyle, you were too harsh. How can you give Lukaku a 7? He scored the winner. Yeah, I mean, you know what, guys? I mean, there's only one more rating I want to give. I mean, we could give. I would say that Fred, you could probably say was, he got an assist, so give him a 7. But there's one rating, and it's because I know Matthew and I were talking about it. Delo came on, and the team changed. The team dynamic changed, and we went on to score immediately after he came on. So, Matthew, what should we give Delo for a rating today?
Oh, this boy, he's probably my favourite player at the moment. Like, it seems that Neil Rants have started the pro Delo movement, or this Delo FC. I tell you what, it's going to kick off soon. And it's so good all they actually sees him as a winger. Because for me, that's his best position. Yeah, he's a right back by trade, and he can play a bit left back as well. But in the front three, in big games, for me, he's the first name on that right-hand side position. Because he'll give you extra cover. And at the same time, he's like an old school winger. We will just pick the ball up, beat his man, put in the cross, and that's all he'll do. But he does it to absolute perfection. Like, some of his crosses in that game are just unreal, and I think he got an assist for that Pereira goal, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it was literally about 2 minutes after.
Yeah, he did get an assist.
2 minutes after he came on. For me, see, if it was 2-2 and Lukaku didn't get that last minute goal, Delo would have been head and shoulders man of the match. But because he got that goal, and for me, he's just something completely different to what we have right now. Like, it's actually so good to see someone on the right-hand side, be it a right back or a right winger, who can actually get forward, beat his man, and put in a good ball. Like, his crossing is some of the best that we've seen in years, pretty much.
It reminds me a bit of Ryan Giggs, Matthew. It does. It reminds me a bit of Ryan Giggs.
I also think he's got that kind of ability to put in early crosses as well, which when you've got the pace of Marcus Rashford and Martial up top, that's going to cause defenders absolute havoc. Because like his passing as well, not even just crossing, his passing is unbelievable too. Like, for me, he's favorite United player at the moment, and I absolutely love him. Like,
so when are you going to make your poster for yourself, Matthew?
I've already made one. It's up in the store. And I tell you what, I'm printing off a Delo poster on the weekend or the next few days and putting it up on my wall, because the boy's something else. And I think I'm probably going to go to that Chelsea game on the 28th of April, right after I finish all my uni stuff. And I'm going to get myself a Delo shirt.
Hell yeah.
Oh, he's a sun boy sucker, so he is. So in terms of rating, I give him, because I gave Lukaku a 9, I give Delo an 8.5.
I was going to give him an 8 because he came on and he changed the match. He really did. He came on, changed the match instantaneously. And the passes that he's able to put in, the crosses he's able to put in, really made the difference today. And it's amazing to see that. And like Matthew said, we did talk about giving him the man of the match if it was going to stay a draw. And ultimately, Lukaku coming up with that big goal. I mean, what else can you ask for? So real quick, I'll read your guys' ratings out. So George Kyle said, Delo, my man of the match, a 9, changed the game, excellent crossing, and finished, hopefully, Ashley Young's career. I mean, I would love to see him start playing it right back. I've said it. I would love to see it. John Seth said Delo an 8.5 because he was the game changer. Matt Marcus did say Ollie's at the wheel, baby, and he is at the wheel, Marcus. He is. Saban said Delo is so good, 9. Susan said Delo is 7, really promising. Moana said Delo 8, great impact. Penka said Delo 8, he is the future world-class right back. in the making. The cross he made for Rashford. Rashford should have scored that. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Rashford should have put that header in. George Kyle, we are on 16 likes, so you guys are going to get a dab. You guys will get a dab because we did win, and we can celebrate for wins. We can celebrate for the wins. And then I think that's all of the ratings. Okay, so no, I'm sorry. AFF did say Delo mint 9. As Matthew said, maybe he could be like Bale and move forward, which, George, I'm 100% in favor of him moving further up that pitch and starting to see what he can do. You know, I think that would be a great decision to let him see what he can do. Don't get me wrong. I would still love to see Heath Chong get a chance on that right wing. But at the end of the day, right now, Delo is helping this team out in a massive, massive way. So I don't really know what else you could ask from him. I don't. And for me, I'll start Delo on that right wing in this PSG match, and I'll start him against Arsenal. Definitely start him against Arsenal because I think that he will be massive in that match. Delo wears Ollie's number 22, said Nick Archer. Yeah, no, it's very true. Anyone who hasn't liked because I haven't seen a Pogba dance in months, said George. We're not going to be getting the Pogba dance because you have to get to 25 for that one, and we were just literally above 20 watching. So not going to get it today, George, but maybe we'll get it again soon. Jack Coleman, he has to start over young. Sanchez is injured, by the way, and will definitely miss the PSG game. Yeah, no. George, it is 25. I've said it before. It's an extra 10 to get an extra dance. It is. But, guys, we hit those dabs. Bam, bam, bam. We hit those Pogba-type dabs. Matthew, are you hitting the dab too? I have to ask.
Just hit it.
Okay, good.
Just hit the fastest dab of 2019.
We out here in 2019, baby. We out here in 2019. And guys, real quick, I did want to say before we move on to the giving Ollie a rating, we are so close to hitting 500 subs. And when we do, I will be doing another t-shirt giveaway because you guys have been phenomenal as an audience. And I cannot tell you how appreciative I am of you guys. But Matthew, we have to give Ollie a rating today. And let me tell you what, early on, it was looking like it was going to be an average 6, maybe a 5, but he put on Delo. And that changed the game. How are you going to rate Ollie today?
I'll tell you what, Ollie's been listening to me and rants. He knows that Delo's a winger. And that substitution alone just completely changed the game. So for me, and it was a comeback too, let's not forget that. We came back from 2-1.
Yep.
Well, we kind of came back twice. Oh no, we didn't come back from 2-1. We came back from 1-0.
Yeah, we came back from 1-0 and then 2-2.
Yeah. So, to some extent, 2 comebacks. Just an absolutely brilliant performance from Ollie. I'd give him a 9, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I'm giving him a 9 too.
I don't know about a 10, but yeah, definitely a 9.
I'm giving him a 9 just because Ollie's at the fucking wheel, baby. Love what Ollie is doing for Manchester United. And you know what? I'll make you a deal. If we manage to hit 20 likes, I will sing the song for you guys one more time. But guys,
we need to fit what was it, Delo into that Ollie's at the wheel song. We need to do that.
Yeah.
Should be. We've got
Dalot, Paul
Pogba,
Pogba, and Fred.
Dalot, Paul Pogba, and Fred, because Fred's.
Yeah. Oh, hey, we hit 20. We'll sing it, baby. We'll sing it. Well, that's how I'll end off the show. But guys, Matthew, thank you, my friend, for joining me. I mean,
no worries,
over 200 posters sold. So proud of my guy. And I mean, like I said, I'm hearing rumors that you're going to be not only putting up a Delo poster on your wall, but you might be coming up with some new posters.
Yeah, I've got some new ones in the pipeline. Although they'll probably be done in a couple of months or so because uni work, that's too important at the moment. So yeah, in a couple of months I should have some more ideas up and hopefully they'll do well too. But yeah, if you want to be, an absolute sunboy supper and get yourself a low poster and do so, because the boy's a future star.
Get him while it's early. Get him while it's early.
Yeah. Like you could literally be the first person to have an offside graphics low poster. And I tell you what, there's achievements in life. That's one of them.
And that would be quite the achievement. That would be quite the achievement to be the first one to get a Delo poster. I can tell you what.
I mean, it's up there with winning the Champions League final. Let's just say that.
I have heard that. I've heard that rumor. So let's see if maybe somebody will do it. Let's see. Maybe. But guys, I have something to tell you. It's real quick. I got something to tell you. All is at the wheel. Tell me how good does it feel? We've got Sanchez, Paul Pogba, and Fred. Marcus Rashford is like born and bred. We're out here, baby. We are out here. We're out here in 2019. We're taking all the wins. We're taking it all. We're taking it all. Guys, we're coming back for that top spot. I'm telling you, Ollie's getting this job, and we're coming back for our championship, baby. We're coming back to claim English football again. Telling you now, it's happening. Love me some Ollie. And let's go ahead. Let's wrap it up. End of the stream. Arthur's in the stream. Arthur! Arthur! Arthur!
Trying to remember the low FC, that boy.
Arthur! Come here! Come here! Come here! No, you're in the wrong spot. You got to come over this way. Come on. Come on. Come on. Yeah. Yeah. Arthur's excited, guys. Arthur's excited. And now Arthur's curious why mom isn't coming in the room. But, guys, we back. We back, baby. So let's go ahead. We out here in 2019. I am so happy to have Ollie in charge. He has got us playing on new levels, and I cannot wait to see what he does for the rest of this year and what he will do going into next season. But, ladies and gentlemen, I really do hope that you all have a great night, a great day, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing. Keep doing you, because I love you guys, and you guys are freaking awesome. Let's go Manchester United, baby.